Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something really crucial in cybersecurity, something you probably use every day but maybe haven't thought much about: authentication profiles.
That's right. They're kind of the unsung heroes of online access.
Exactly. And our mission today is to unpack how these profiles, especially in platforms like, say, Delinea, act as this vital bridge. They have to balance really strong security with making it easy for us to actually log in and use things.
It's a delicate balancing act, for sure.
We're going to pull out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts, just to get you properly informed. So, okay, let's just dive in. What exactly are authentication profiles, and why are they suddenly so important for security online?
Okay, so at their core, authentication profiles are basically a central control panel. They let organizations define and manage how you authenticate, especially when it comes to multi-factor authentication, or MFA.
Right, MFA. Everyone's talking about that.
Exactly. So these profiles dictate the specific challenges you face, like maybe needing a password and a code from your phone when you log in. And crucially, they also set how long you stay authenticated before the system asks you again.
Okay, setting the time limit.
Yeah, and what's really, I think, insightful here is how they change MFA.
Yep.
People often think of MFA as just another annoying step, right?
Guilty as charged sometime.
Yeah, we all feel that. But the surprising thing is, when you use profiles properly, MFA can actually reduce frustration. It's smart about when it asks for that extra proof, not just if.
Okay, that sounds counterintuitive. Security, that's less annoying. My first reaction is, isn't that creating a gap, a loophole? But you're saying it's actually the opposite. How does that balance work? Secure and user-friendly.
It really comes down to two things: standardizing the setups and using what are called pass-through durations really intelligently.
Pass-through durations, okay.
Think of them as grace periods. You authenticate once, and the system says, okay, you're good for X amount of time before I bug you again for MFA. This whole approach is designed to cut down on the friction for you, the user.
So like less hassle for everyday stuff.
Precisely. So maybe for just logging into your main dashboard, the pass-through is set to, say, 12 hours. You log in the morning, you're set for the workday.
Okay, that makes sense.
But if you try to do something riskier, maybe change your password, access sensitive admin settings, transfer money, then the profile kicks in differently. It might demand immediate reauthentication or have a really short pass-through, like maybe just 15 minutes.
So it matches the security level to what you're actually doing. Context added.
Exactly. It's context-aware security.
Right. We've all felt that pain point needing to log in again and again. So platforms like Delinea build these in for some pretty powerful reasons, it sounds like. Let's maybe dig into the why a bit more. Why are they so vital? You mentioned standardization first.
Absolutely. That's a huge one. By standardizing how MSA is configured and applied, these profiles bring consistency. Everyone follows the same rules for the same situations.
And that avoids mistakes.
It significantly reduces the risk of configuration errors, those little inconsistencies or mistakes someone might make, setting things up manually that can accidentally open up a big security hole. It's like having a clear, consistent security playbook.
Okay, consistency is good. But you also mentioned tailoring security. It sounds like it goes beyond just standard rules. Can you give an example, maybe a more complex one than just logging in from a new phone, where this customization is really critical? What if a company gets this wrong?
Oh, definitely. That tailoring is where the real strength lies. Profiles let admins customize the authentication challenges based on specific needs, matching the security precisely to the risk.
So beyond a new device. Like what?
Well, imagine you have a critical internal app, maybe holding sensitive customer data. Even if a user logged into their main portal earlier, the policy for that specific app might trigger a profile demanding step-up authentication every single time it's accessed.
Step-up authentication.
Yeah, an extra layer. Maybe needing that mobile authenticator push confirmation again just for that app. Or think about password resets. A profile for that would absolutely enforce strong second factors like an SMS code or an email link, because that's a prime target for phishing or social engineering.
And if they don't tailor it?
If they don't get it right, they're stuck. Either they make everything super high security, which drives users crazy asking for MFA constantly for simple things, or they make things too easy for critical actions, leaving gaping holes for attackers. It's about finding that right balance for each scenario.
Okay, so tailoring is key. Now,
yeah.
Flip side, for us, the actual users, how does this translate directly into a better, less annoying experience day to day?
It comes straight back to those intelligent pass-through durations we talked about.
Right, the grace periods.
Exactly. By cutting out unnecessary MFA prompts, When you've literally just authenticated 5 minutes ago, it makes the whole process smoother. You're not constantly interrupted. That feeling of, oh, didn't I just do this? Authentication profiles aim to make that feeling disappear without actually lowering the security barrier when it matters.
Okay, so it simplifies things, makes it less frustrating. But how do these profiles fit into the bigger security picture? They don't work in isolation, do they? You mentioned identity policies earlier.
No, they absolutely don't work in a vacuum. That integration with identity policies is critical. Think of identity policies as the overall strategy, the high-level rules.
Like the who, what, where, when of access.
Precisely. Who gets access to what resources under which conditions, like maybe only from a trusted device or only during work hours. The identity policy sets those broad rules.
Okay, and the authentication profile.
The authentication profile is the how. It's the specific checkpoint defined within that policy. When the policy says, okay, this user accessing this resource from this location needs to prove their identity, the linked authentication profile says, here's how they need to prove it. Password plus SMS, or maybe just FIDO2 key, whatever is defined.
Got it. So the policy decides if you need a check.
Yeah.
And the profile decides what that check looks like.
Exactly. It makes sure MFA is applied smartly, contextually, only when and where it's actually needed based on the overall policy.
And what about the actual methods used? Are organizations locked into just one or two ways to authenticate? Or is there flexibility?
Oh, there's huge flexibility. Good platforms support a really wide range of authentication mechanisms. It's all about meeting different needs, fitting in with maybe existing systems the company already has, but also pushing towards more modern, secure methods.
Like what kind of methods are we talking about?
Well, you've got the basics like passwords, of course, and mobile authenticator apps, those things like Google Authenticator or Duo Mobile on your phone. Then there's SMS codes, email codes, even phone calls sometimes.
Okay, the common ones.
Right. But also more robust options like OTE-TP clients, and importantly, FIDO2 authenticators.
FIDO2, those are the physical keys, right? Like YubiKeys.
Exactly. Those are hardware keys you plug in or tap. They're designed to be super resistant to phishing attacks, which is a huge plus. So organizations can mix and match, layer these methods using the profiles to build a really strong defense.
That variety definitely seems useful. So zooming out again, what does all this mean for a company's overall security? How much protection do these profiles actually offer?
Well, that raises a key point. What's the real bottom line here? Authentication profiles are a critical defense layer against really common attacks, account takeovers, phishing scams, credential stuffing. By forcing those MFA challenges, and especially by tailoring them so the right level of challenge is presented for the right action, they dramatically lower the chances of unauthorized access. Even if someone steals your password, which happens all the time, they still hit that MFA wall defined by the profile.
So the stolen password isn't enough.
Right. They'd also need your phone or your fingerprint or that physical key, whatever the profile demands for that specific situation. It makes breaking in much, much harder. They are a fundamental part of stopping attacks before they succeed.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about the folks who have to manage all this, the IT admins? What problems do these profiles solve for them? It sounds potentially complicated.
Actually, it makes their lives easier. Significantly easier in many ways. Instead of having to configure MFA settings individually for every single user or every single application, they can define these profiles once.
Create a template, kind of.
Exactly. They can use pre-built default profiles or create their own custom ones, define the pass-through durations, the challenge methods, set it all up in the profile. Then they just assign that profile to users or groups through those identity policies we discuss.
Ah. So link the profile to the policy, and the policy applies to the users.
Precisely. It streamlines deployment massively. It cuts down on the chance of human error when configuring things manually. And it means the security policies can change and adapt really quickly as the organization evolves without becoming this huge, tangled mess to manage.
Okay, that administrative benefit's pretty clear. So we understand the why and the how in principle. Right. How do these actually look in practice, like in a real system? Let's talk about those built-in profiles you mentioned. What are some common examples?
Yeah, so platforms like Delinea usually ship with some smart defaults. These aren't random, they're based on common security best practices. For instance, you'll almost always find a default new device login profile.
Makes sense. Logging in from somewhere new is riskier.
Right. So that profile will typically demand two factors. Maybe challenge one is your password, and challenge two gives you options like using your mobile authenticator app or getting an SMS or email code, maybe an OTP client. And it might have a standard pass through, like 12 hours.
Okay. What else?
Then there's usually a simpler default other login profile for just your regular everyday logins from a known device. Challenge one might just be the password, and again, maybe a 12-hour pass-through, so it's not annoying.
Less fiction there.
Exactly. Then a really important one, a default password reset profile. This one will definitely require stronger second factor before letting you reset.
Yeah.
So challenge one wouldn't be the password you forgot. It would be options like the mobile authenticator, SMS, email, or Oath OTP again. Pass-through might still be 12 hours once reset.
Makes sense. Got to protect that reset process.
Absolutely. And finally, you often see a default for step-up authentication. This is for those high-risk actions within a session. Here, the challenge options might be an email code or the mobile authenticator, and the pass-through duration will be very short, maybe just 15 minutes, or even immediate re-authentication every time.
So those defaults cover the main bases.
They provide a really solid starting point, yeah.
But what if a company has really specific needs? Maybe they're in finance and have strict regulations, or they have a unique internal app. Can admins go beyond the defaults and really fine-tune things? What bits can they actually customize?
Oh, absolutely. Customization is key. When an admin creates a custom profile, they're essentially designing their perfect security checkpoint.
How does that work?
Well, first, they give it a unique profile name so they can identify it, and usually a description explaining what it's for. Then, critically, they set that challenge pass-through duration. Remember, that's deciding how long the security badge swipe is good for, especially important for those step-up requests.
Right, the timing.
And then, the core part. They choose the actual authentication challenges. Which method or methods will be required for challenge one and potentially for challenge two if they want multi-factor. This lets them pick the exact combination, password, fingerprint, phone code, hardware key that fits the specific risk level they're addressing. It allows for incredibly detailed control.
So they can mix and match those methods. When we talk about those challenges, what's the full menu? You mentioned a few, but what's the whole range of supported mechanisms typically look like?
Yeah, good platforms offer a really broad toolkit. You've got the familiar ones, password or single sign-on, SSO, the platform's own mobile authenticator app, like the Delinea one. Then standard methods like phone calls, SMS codes, email codes.
The basics.
Right. Then you get into things like ODP clients. Those are apps that generate time-based codes. You've got third-party radius authentication, which is important for integrating with existing network gear. And as we mentioned, the highly secure FIDO2 authenticators, those physical keys.
Any others?
Sometimes security questions are still supported as an option, maybe as a fallback or for specific lower risk scenarios, though they're generally seen as less secure these days. But the point is, there's a comprehensive set of tools to choose from.
That is quite a list. Definitely flexible. So, okay, the admin creates this perfect custom profile or decides to use a default. How does it actually get applied? How does the system know when to use which profile?
That's the final crucial step. Linking the profile to an identity policy.
Back to the policies again.
Exactly. The policy is the brand. It defines the conditions. If the user is in the finance group and accessing the accounting app and it's outside business hours, then apply, and that's where you link it. Apply the high-risk finance access authentication profile.
I see. So the policy watches for the specific scenario.
And when that scenario happens, it triggers the assigned authentication profile, enforcing the exact challenges and pass-through duration defined in that profile. It ensures the whole experience is seamless for the user, but also contextually secure. The right check happens at the right time.
So really, bringing it all together then, authentication profiles aren't just some minor setting. They're like the intelligent engine driving modern multi-factor authentication, aren't they?
That's a great way to put it. They're the backbone. They provide that secure, customizable, but also surprisingly user-friendly way to strike the right balance between locking things down and letting legitimate users get their work done smoothly.
It's that balance again.
It is. And what's really, I find, quite remarkable is how the system allows for such fine-grained, specific control without necessarily making the user's life complicated.
Right. It's working behind the scenes mostly.
Yeah. By combining those structured configurations in the profiles with all the flexible authentication options and then applying them smartly using identity policies based on context, it really strengthens a company's defenses. It makes that scenario of a stolen password much less likely to lead to a full breach. It's about making security smart and adaptive, not just a set of annoying roadblocks.
Okay, so maybe a final thought for everyone listening. As you go about your day online, logging into your bank, your work apps, maybe buying something, perhaps this makes you wonder just how often are these invisible authentication profiles working quietly in the background, shaping your experience, keeping things secure without you even noticing?
It's definitely something happening constantly behind the digital curtain.
Yeah, something to think about. We definitely encourage you to stay curious, keep exploring, keep questioning how this digital world around us works.